Rethought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. Rethought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Hello, and welcome to Rockin the Love. I am Robyn Olmstead.
And I am Gil William Olmstead, and we are happy to be here. Happy you're joining us today for Rockin the Love. Woo! What do we do this for, Robyn? We do it for fun. We do it to talk about relationships. We do it to talk about how everything's a relationship, and we do it because I don't know. I think we do it because it makes us explore new things all the time.
Those are all good reasons.
Yeah.
And hopefully we do it because it helps you and reminds you of the truth of who you really are, which is love in action. So welcome. If you're here for the first time, we are a married couple, which may be evident throughout the show. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I don't know. Maybe it always is. Our producer might say it always is, but he's been with us a long time. We've been at this for over 3 years, right?
Yeah. Yes, we have.
Crazy. But anyway, yes, that is one of our motivating factors, is to give our producer something to do. Because there in Ohio, they're lacking sometimes. He needs a little extra stimulation. And so we are here for him. So today we are talking about the holidays.
Oh, the holidays. Oh, the holidays.
Yes. We are talking about happy, hopeful, or horrific.
And who makes that choice?
Oh, darn it. And thank you very much for joining us. That's pretty much it, right? So before we do that, though, we're talking about our week. Yes, we are on 2 screens, but we are in the same location. We are just playing around with our equipment. So we decided today to come to you from 2 screens and see how that went. Here in New Mexico, the week has been pretty good weather, but kind of cold. Right?
Kind of cold, but not bad. It's been warming up a bit. And we definitely are getting up into the 50s every day at some point. So that moves us along. At night, nights were getting down into the 20s, but now they're more like the 30s. So it's good. It's all good.
It's all good.
Just remember to wear a little something when you go out, because even though it looks really nice, sometimes it's not. Okay, wait a minute. That's interesting. Okay. Anyway, sometimes it looks really nice, but it's not as nice as we think.
Whatever that means. It's the illusion of nice, but then it's blistery and cold.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
okay, wait. I got a comment on our screens because I'm noticing something. Producer, help me out here. So when I look to where Robyn is in my room, on her screen, I'm looking at her, but on my screen, I'm looking away from her. So I can't tell what people are seeing out there.
It's the same. I mean, it's right now. I think it's turned around right. So look at me right now, and I'll look at you. So it looks
we're right on your screen.
Yeah, exactly.
We're wrong. I'm going the wrong way on my screen.
Oh, it's so like life, right?
I know.
You think you're in the right lane, and
well, anyway. Oh, there we go. We can just pretend that we're looking at there we go.
Now, what's going on here? You guys are fine.
When I look at my wife, I like it to appear that I'm actually looking at her, not just looking off into space.
Oh, okay.
And so, but the deal is on her screen, when I look left, it looks like I'm looking right. And on my screen, when I look left, I'm looking left. So I can't tell what people out there are seeing.
Okay. That's my job, not yours.
Well, but
Okay.
so
But
that
I gotta know which way to look.
he's looking for you to confirm.
So tell me which
that
way
it
to
looks
look
like he's looking the right way.
and I'll do it.
All right.
Okay, so keep an eye out. You can tell me in a minute.
Can I leave now?
You're excused.
Our producer may have been drinking. Let me just.
No, I have not.
Okay.
That does help the production of the shows, though. When I watch the Friday evening fireside chat, and then there's drinking.
And you'll prove it.
All
right. So
funny show that occurs after beer camp as well.
All right. So here we are, and we may be looking at each other on your screen or not, but just know that we are indeed doing that. So back to our week. Our week has been, well, I'll speak for me. Gil has pneumonia and has had pneumonia for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And it's an interesting journey. I just had a rant with a friend of mine who's mistakenly said, "How are you?" And I
you didn't put up the warning.
I told her, I was like, I don't know. It's so weird because, when you're with somebody who's sick, then you kind of morph into their thing, but you really have things to do. So then you come out of it and you're overwhelmed because you have too much to do. And, and that's kind of how I feel. And there's a part of me that just wants to slip into this vortex of like, we're at home, we're relaxing. And part of me does, which I know is also part of this 2x4 plan that Spirit has handed down, that we, don't do as much as we're doing. And amidst that, it's challenging to try to figure out how to do what I need to get done.
Yeah.
And bust the illusion.
I keep thinking if I just get through this next weekend, that'll be good. But as I look forward, I go, well, that's every weekend.
Exactly. It is every weekend. And it makes me think like, what should we really be doing at Christmas? Should we be traveling?
Right. Should
Probably
we be
not.
staying here? Should we make it a short trip since it's a change?
Yeah. I mean, all of those things, it's just interesting when you're, we're told to live in the moment. And how you do, how sometimes when you got a plan.
Well, yeah. Well, it's surrender. It's surrender and trust. Trust that we're doing what we need to do and things are happening. I mean, I'll just comment that we had something come up yesterday, a project that on the surface seemed like we put it off way too long and wires were crossed and it was insurmountable. And within a couple of hours, it was done. I mean, it wasn't, anyway, that being said, just that, things show up as they're supposed to show up. And frankly, I had the energy last night to follow it through more. I know I wasn't dumping it off on you, which I haven't had, most of the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so there's all that's there, I mean, and you get a call from here and this has changed and that's changed. And, isn't that the way life goes every day?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And so when do we go, okay, so it changed. We just move that around and see what's next.
It's a dance. It's a game.
And trust that the big plan is always there. I think I like to get stuck in the small plan. I like to get stuck into what's right here. How am I going to get all this done? When in reality, I've got to hold that space for the big plan, for the big stuff. All right.
Yeah.
I've rambled.
It's interesting. It's an interesting thing. The big plan. That sounds like a show. The big plan.
The big plan.
No, but really, what is the big plan? So anyway, again, like I said, we're going to be talking about holidays today and just all the things that come up. And before we do that, we are going to our good news segment. Good news.
Right.
Here's the good news, because everybody needs a little good news, especially during the holidays. And yeah, especially if you turn on the news, because we want to hear some things that are going on right in the world and that feel good. So we got them for you. So what do you got?
Well, so, we all, I know this is true for all of us, wherever we are, that we are constantly encountering persons on the street that are houseless. And I, for one, feel somewhat impotent around all of that. I don't know what to do. I don't feel like I can. It's one of those things where I would like to be a much better person, but I'm not sure that I am. So, all that being said, this is a word of encouragement from a retired police officer who, with some of his own money and some donations, got a hold of a bus and converted it into a laundromat. Because it actually came forth because he was out on a call before he retired. And it was a domestic call, and it was in the houseless community. And he had this voice that hit him that said, ask them what they need. Right? And they said, clean clothes. And he was like, oh. So he created this bus, and he has a schedule that he set, and he lets the people know when he'll be in any particular area, and he goes there and lets people do their laundry for free, covers it all, and then he goes on to the next spot. And then, does it, I'm not sure how many days a week or whatever he does it, but I do know that he's considering getting another bus and rehabbing it so that he can double his ability to reach people. So I'm guessing he's doing it a fair amount. So there you go. Taking, what he said was, it's some, everybody, if people feel better because their clothes are clean, because they feel clean, then he's helping. And that's worthwhile. So there you go.
Interesting. That's beautiful. It's so interesting because my story, which I'm going to tell you right now so that my producer can scramble and look for it because I couldn't tell him before, is about the prison dance. And I find it interesting because this is the same kind of story to me in looking out to people's humanity, and really
in tough situations, if you will.
Yeah, and just really seeing the truth of who they are. So this took place at a Louisiana state penitentiary, and it was through an organization called God Behind Bars. And it was a heartwarming event that they created, this father-daughter dance, and they came together for just this magical evening of reuniting fathers with their daughters after years apart. And it was a collaboration of the organization and churches and ministries that support incarcerated individuals in Louisiana. And the inmates afterwards, were like, we're supposed to be the hardest of the hardest. And we were walking around crying, because they said when they took part in the dance, like one father said, when I turned around and saw my baby in that dress and she busted out crying, I sobbed. And I ain't no crier, And you can just imagine, though, that people who have been incarcerated and told they were the worst of the worst, and that image is, and they're feeling their own guilt for whatever they've done or haven't done or whatever. And, they're taught to think of themselves in one way, and that what this organization does is, often the prison system, emphasizes the punitive measures, but this organization, God Behind Bars, really highlights the importance of restorative justice and the belief that every individual is created in the image of the Lord and focused on the hopeful journey of re-entering society, which is exactly what we say, right? So they had this event. They had a Thanksgiving dinner that was served before the dance, and there was a special performance choreographed by the fathers, and yeah, it was just another thing. One of the guys said is that he said we're supposed to be the worst of the worst, and the hardest of the hardest, and we walked around like that. Sometimes they walk around like that, but seeing all of us together with our kids, the loves of our lives, and no masks, that was cool. And so they also got to see each other in that light, So I think...
and they involved the community in this, right? Because there was some organization or store that provided the suits or tuxedos or whatever that all the guys are wearing because they didn't have any of that stuff. So that was provided. And I don't know about the dresses for the girls or anything. I may have been somebody that helped with that too. But at least in terms of the guys in prison, they took care of that. You can see in the picture, they're all finely dressed. And I just marvel at the idea that these guys walked around in this and saw each other in a whole different light, and in CERN saw themselves in that whole different light.
Sure. I mean, well, in that moment, they weren't inmates,
and they weren't there because they were bad people.
Right. They were dads, and they were in that place. So it's like they had that space for their heart to be filled and to remember truly the joy and the laughter and the things that they're not always getting there. And so it really is just a reminder of the power of love and the power and the importance of the connection and second chances and just being able to really hold that space. And then you don't know where the goodness is going to emerge, So
yeah,
I thought it was very touching.
Cool.
Very cool.
All right. So next up, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about holidays. Happy, hopeful, or horrific. You pick. So stay tuned. Get a glass of water. Get a cup of tea. Get a scone. Whatever you need. And we will be back in just a couple minutes after these words from New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center, Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
Hello, and we're back. I'm Robyn.
And I'm Gil, and we're happy to see you all here today. We are doing Rockin the Love as we do every Wednesday, and our big topic today is holidays. Happy, hopeful, or horrific? Oh my goodness, who came up with that title?
So, yeah, I mean, it is an interesting title, and we all have feelings about holidays, I'm imagining, and we welcome you to put that in the chat and share with us what happens for you during the holidays. So let me ask you, holidays,
What happened? What do I think?
happy, hopeful,
Oh,
horrific?
Generally speaking, they're pretty happy. And the horrific section of holidays, I think for most people, and I heard someone talking about this just the other day, is as we grow older, we realize, well, maybe it's not the horrific part. Maybe it's the part of moving past the horrific part. That we don't have to engage with those members of our family which just want to argue or be mean or whatever they might be, abusive in some way. We can change that. We can shift that. We don't have to do that. The other side of it is the horrific part is when we aren't connected to some of our family that we'd really like to be, for me anyway. Family or friends who we may have lost along the way due to whatever issues may have come up or possibly even loss of life, that brings all those things up. So that's where that kind of horrific thing resides in my mind.
Well, it's interesting that you say that. I mean, I think that, so for me, the holidays are happy and hopeful. And, I think I've adapted horrific into the equation throughout my time.
To accommodate me.
Yeah, to accommodate you. Yeah, to be one with you. No, but it's interesting that you say that primarily your holidays are happy, because I don't ever feel you going into the season like that. You're like, somebody said something the other day about something, shopping or.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We were doing our Secret Santa for our family. And you're like, I'm like, what kind of attitude is that? No, but for real. And it's like, it's like you got to get one gift, but just, it always, and this isn't a criticism. It's just the noticing that, I mean, it doesn't feel like you began from a joyous, like, yay, it's December. Let's deck the halls and, all of that. It feels like instead it becomes, and I think this is true for a lot of people, that it becomes like immediate overwhelm. Like, it's December. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough resources to do whatever it is I could do to make it happy.
Yeah, it's an extra layer of work. That's what happens in me. It's an extra layer of things that have to be done. Instead of feeling like it's something that's really, really fun. I actually enjoy them when I just don't worry about them. So like being sick over Thanksgiving was actually a really nice Thanksgiving, because I didn't have to go anywhere. And I got to just be here with you. And we had a friend over to have Thanksgiving food with us one of the days of the weekend. And that was it. And it didn't feel like it had to fit into a mold or anything. I mean, I was disappointed at some level that I couldn't participate in some stuff, but not feeling like I had to participate because I had permission not to because I was sick was a whole different feeling.
Interesting. So it feels like, in some ways, it feels like a setup.
Yeah, you're right.
For you.
You're right.
It's like a setup. Like immediately you're like, oh God, I'm not ready to do this event. And there's so much that's expected of me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it is primarily all about me. You've said that many times.
Yeah, I'm like, and we're back.
But that is true. I mean, I think that's something that I'm working to release for myself, is that, it's not all about me, for one, and it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be whatever. So it's really, we talk about Rockin the Love is about relationship. This is about my relationship to the holidays, and your relationship to the holidays, and your relationship to gathering people together and doing it in some way that's traditional in some way.
Yeah. And I do think, I can't speak for everybody, but I think there's a general race consciousness of, that Norman Rockwell photo of Christmas and or all the Hallmark movies, or, that there's family and there's love and there's, cookies baking in the oven and, no, but really, like, at this time of the year, we're all like, oh, what can we bake as a gift, or what can we make? Like everything kicks into this one season, And so, it's easy to see how your expectations can get blown out of the way. It's like I had a friend before Thanksgiving, the same weekend, the weekend of Thanksgiving, who texted me, and said, "What's your address?" And I was like, "I hate you. I hate you that I know you're writing your Christmas cards right now and addressing them. I hate you that you're organized." And I think it's amazing. I think it's wonderful. I think it's great. Like, it's, this is why I used to start like in August, so that I could really be happy by the time I got to December and not have that overwhelmed feeling, to know like, okay, half my Christmas shopping is done and my card list is laid out. And this was when I was a much organized, younger individual. Now I'm married to Scrooge, so I've quieted it down.
Without a husband to take care of. Oh my.
No, but it's not about taking care of you so much as it's just, things morph into adaptations of what will work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think about that and I think, oh, that would be great. And am I just neglecting all those people and showing that I don't care? Because in my head, what I'm thinking is, there's so much right here, right in front of me, that needs to be handled, needs to be done, needs to be addressed, people that need to be taken care of, but recognized somehow, brought into the circle, and maybe that's an excuse,
Maybe. Or maybe it's just something to look at. I was, just talking about, and I actually wrote about in my journal this morning, like time and time constraints, and what are they, and can they be real if, there's no time and space on some level? So it's like, how do we adjust to exactly what you said, the timing that we think we need to do something more important right now? And maybe it's exactly like you said about being sick. Maybe all those things you think need to happen right now don't necessarily need to happen. Maybe you're just supposed to relax into the holiday and go, what will make this holiday good for my loved ones, for me, for, whoever.
Yeah. And I think I personally have moved to avoid more of that, because I don't feel like I don't have that connection to family that I'd like to have. That's just all there is to it.
And that's what we talk about a lot in this philosophy of, okay, that may be true. And so what about the connection to the people you do have? because you're compromising that when you're living in what you don't have. You know what I mean? So you've got a family of people that are waiting and loving you and wanting to celebrate Christmas with you. And you can't be present to that because of who you're not with, which I understand. But it's about, so what are you going to do about who you're not with? Or how are you going to be present for who you are with?
Or how do I implement change into the whole thing? I mean, how do I implement change into who I'm not with? What is it I need to step up and do? What is it I need to
that's what
initiate?
I'm saying.
Well, I mean, I hear you with the people that are around me, but I mean, the people I'm disappointed I'm not with, what do I need to initiate with them to shift it from being disappointing to being something else? Because again, in theory, I have control over that too, right?
Well, yes, and I mean, I mean, this is a different topic really than what we're talking about, but it's relevant, obviously. And the things you can do about that are going to come from within, because they can't have an expectation attached to them. You know, and this is true for anyone with family or people they're not with, loved ones at Christmas, or family they don't get along with, or, you know, wishing that Uncle Joe could be at Thanksgiving, but he had a fight with, you know, Cousin Jane, or whatever it is, you know. And so our job is to know that we're loving Uncle Joe and we're sending Uncle Joe our love, and Uncle Joe will then make their decisions based on their own stuff. You know what I mean? But it's a good question. And I mean, but at the end of the day, my professional opinion would be, you know, are you doing, do they know? Do they know you love them? That's because that's all that matters. Do they know you love them? You know, and, you know, you don't have to go through, or maybe you do, I don't know. But in general, my advice to people is you don't have to go through the pain and the remorse and the beating yourself up about what you haven't done, or how you haven't been there, or how it hasn't happened. And you do, I mean, you just have to be present in the moment. I got sidetracked in my head because I was praying with someone today, a client who has been estranged from their children, their daughters, their grown-up daughters. And, you know, the prayer was really for them to know that they are loved and who she is, and not to, that everybody can stop living in the past of what didn't happen, hasn't happened, couldn't happen, all of those things, and be able to live into what can happen now while we're all still here and present. Did I render you speechless?
Yes. You did. Just a lot of thoughts going through my head. And so we talk about the holidays, and the reality is that we all have responsibility for ourselves in terms of what we're having. We're having the happy, the hopeful, or the horrific. You know, if we assume, for instance, even with plans we do have, that they will be horrific because of such and such, because of past things, then we're just setting those up to be another horrific experience, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it's a real learning process. I mean, I don't know. When I was young,
I'll get the tiny violin.
yeah, you know, but when I was a teenager and stuff, I looked forward to these things. I looked forward to my grandparents coming. I looked forward to having having fun, doing the Christmas tree, whatever, those kinds of things, you know, and I did when I had my kids, you know, and I really loved it. And there's been so much pain since then that it's really hard.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is hard because I don't want to deal with it because it's painful. So the horrific lives on.
And it lives on in everything. It doesn't only live on in the season. You know, it's not isolated to this season.
Well, no.
It might be emphasized because of the stuff.
It comes up.
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's a really, you know, so the question becomes really, so you, who is the, you know, founder of this show, co-founder of this show, telling everyone each week that, you know, rock the love are not rocking the love in this situation.
Way to call me out.
No, but you know what I mean? And I'm sorry if it feels like that, because I didn't mean that. I just mean, you know, I mean, because I notice, I actually call myself on those kind of things all the time where I'm like, how can I rock the love in this situation? Really, when I just want to rip somebody's head off, you know? And really, like, it is for me, it's a reminder. It's a reminder and a call to action. And, you know, yeah. I'm not gonna
Well, I mean, what was coming up for me was, you know, my chosen profession is to be in a spiritual community and lead it. And what the hell does that mean when I can't lead this, right? Or I'm not. And I think that's all part of the learning, you know, somewhere in there, each piece of what we do in our lives supports the whole life. So because of that, it makes me ask these questions more seriously, even though I'd rather not.
Yeah, and I would say not to get stuck on the question, you know, not that when you say it more seriously, because, you know, you minister types, you pontificators go in and try to reason and think and figure it out. And it's like, can you just move to, I don't know why, but this isn't the way I want to do it, you know, or forgiveness or whatever it is, you know, again.
Or this is my capacity.
Or this was my capacity.
Yeah, I just mean, but like, surrender period.
Willingly.
Well, no, I didn't say that.
Surrender.
But surrender period, because I, you know, that was the pneumonia for me.
Right.
And it still is, because I'm sitting here and I'm feeling like I'm going to be tired and we're done. And I'm trying not to cough. And I have to give myself permission to say, well, okay, that's what we can do right now.
But isn't that like the lesson in life? I mean, isn't that the lesson in life? To really stop and say, okay, that's what I can do right now. Or is that the truth? Maybe I could do more. Whatever it is, but isn't the question to stop? I mean, isn't the thing to stop and to ask and then to listen? You know, so that you don't have to get sick? Right.
Well, I didn't say it was the best way to learn. And the fact that you do not have to do this at home. In fact, don't try this at home. Don't wait until your 60s to start asking these questions. This is probably a better thing done in your 20s, 30s, maybe your teens even. To really look at how life works, you know, and the reality is, I think we all do that through all those stages. We're constantly running up against these questions, and we're hitting them in new depths, and we're hitting them at new levels of honesty with ourselves, because it's been really easy not to be honest with myself at different points in the same way. And that's why when it comes around again, I'm like, oh, there's something else underneath this. There's something more that I'm called to be about in this situation. I don't get to blame it on my wife because she can't load a dishwasher. I can't do that. It doesn't work. Right? I've tried. Did it work?
The question is, does it work for you?
Right.
I don't
know what I mean.
I don't know. There's many things you do that certainly wouldn't work for me, and I may judge them and don't think they're working for you, but you continue to do them. So obviously they work for you on some level.
That's a discussion for not on the radio.
No, none of it is bad. It's just we're all aware of things that we see stopping each other.
Yeah.
Because we know the truth of who the other person is.
Right.
When we say that we see you, we know who you really are. There is a level at which that is true because we see all the good things in you. So then when you, me, whoever turns around and does something or self-sabotages, or it feels like, they're not living into their potential, you see that, you identify that in me quicker than I would identify it in myself generally.
And quicker than I would identify it in myself.
Right.
Yeah. That's part of the beauty of the concept of the mirror is that if I can see it in you, then I've got to start to awaken somewhat to what's happening in me. Because I think this idea of the mirror, it reflects back, and that, it's almost like this negative idea at first, because it feels overwhelming, and it's like, what do you mean? I don't do that stuff. And the beauty of it is that it allows us to see something that we wouldn't see in ourselves, even though it may be there.
And I think that's a beautiful way to take us back to the topic of happy, hopeful, or horrific, because there is something we all see in the holidays, and I'm going to guess on some level, a lot of it is positive for most people. Maybe not everybody. Maybe you had horrific holidays or horrible memories, but I think that's almost where the hopeful comes in. And, like our good news story on our show we did on hope, I think, the holidays hold that space of what's possible. It's not so much that I've got to have a turkey dinner with my whole family and everybody needs to be present, as much as it is that I want that connection and that feeling and that joy. If everybody was sitting together eating in and out, that would be just as happy, really, because we'd be together. So it's about identifying on some level, really what the essence of the holiday or Christmas or Thanksgiving is. And then how do we live into, whatever that means to us or has meant to us? And how do we stay mentally healthy during that time? I want to talk about that for a minute as we move towards this space, because a lot of stress and tension and things come up about ourselves and others. So do you have any thoughts on that?
About stress? And as we're talking about the title, that, the hope for the happy holidays lies in the fact that they don't have to be horrific. It's not a given. It's not a given at all. We have choice and movement in all of that. And you were asking about the mental health, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the key is to be gentle with yourself in terms of what you think has to happen or needs to happen, to look for the nuggets where you get excited and allow those to grow a little bit and engage in those. I don't know exactly beyond that.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with rules and boundaries and thoughts that we may have talked about in many arenas. I mean, I think it's a time where if we can set boundaries for ourselves, know the truth of when we need to rest and recover and relax, and and really be realistic with our expectations on some level.
Well, I think that's great, because I think so often people confuse boundaries with figuring out how to stop other people from invading their space. And I think the boundaries really are about us holding ourselves accountable to what allows us to be our best person. That's really what boundaries are about, And if every time I'm in the presence of Uncle Joe and he starts talking about things and I don't feel like I can tell him that is really not okay, and it doesn't seem like any changes, then my boundary might be to not engage in that anymore, to show up. But it's really about holding myself accountable to just passively allowing it to go unnoticed and unchallenged, and to pretend that it's okay. And I think that's what that's so often the source of the horrific type family things, is we pretend things are okay that are not okay. And so I think the boundaries we put in place are to support ourselves in being real and honest and authentic.
Yeah, I think I think absolutely. And I think it's also creating a boundary for yourself. Like, I'm thinking of a friend of ours who is single, lives alone, doesn't have a lot of family, doesn't have a lot of friends in the area she lives in. She moved there a few years ago. Really only has work friends. Isn't as connected to her family as she has been in the past. And so she's like, I'm having a Christmas party. I'm going caroling. And so these people are coming and this is happening. And, and they're bringing food. We're going to have a potluck, which is really who she is. She likes to do those kind of things, and she hasn't done them in years. And so I think that's part of like being clear on what will bring you joy. Right. This holiday season. What is it that, and again, these are really life lessons. We're just using the holidays as an example. But what will bring you joy, and how can you make that happen? And just really stay connected to what's important to you. And the other thing I think is important is exercising being in gratitude and awareness, and just, again, even just getting conscious and catching yourself of when you're living in the thought of what you don't have, or what isn't happening, or what should be happening, as opposed to what is happening. And when we can stay in that moment of, I'm so grateful that In-N-Out is open on Christmas night, or whatever it is. You know what I mean? But I mean, those little things, as opposed to, I can't believe I don't have this, and turkey isn't on the table, or ham, or whatever you eat. And, whatever traditions, so it's really just, how can we start to really focus on gratitude and love, and which are the joys and the spirit of the season, and move those into the small movements in our life.
Yeah, I would agree with you. And in addition to that, you should always buy your wife a nice gift. Right? Isn't that true? Did I get that right, or am I wrong? I don't know. Maybe it's just my own idea.
Well, I'll tell you, actually, that should part kind of throws it off.
See, that's the problem I have, is the should part. Yeah.
So you have to figure out what your own shoulds are. I don't know that it's about a nice gift as much as it's about a conscious something. I get it if that's
it's about
not
acknowledgement at some level, I think.
Yeah.
That's
So
really
if
what
a
it's
nice gift isn't your love language, what is your love language? And I know because, there's plenty of times when you've given me lovely, wonderful, nice gifts in your way, and they've been amazing. But you have boundaries around it because you're like, I don't, this is, and I've heard you say this, so I'm not misquoting you. I mean, I may be, but I'm not. It's coming from when you said it. You don't like the season where they tell you to buy gifts.
Right.
It's like wearing your stole.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it that way, which is fine. But then figure out what way you are going to do it, and what that looks like in terms of the rest of the people and how it makes them feel and you feel. And I mean, I guess most specifically you have to be okay with what you do.
Right. It's all about me. That's absolutely correct. Thank you. I'm so glad we could get back to that.
Well, at the end of the day, there's only one of us here. So, it's and that's our producer. So we will, indeed take that into consideration.
Yes.
Actually, it's funny you say that about a nice gift because I was thinking I've finally gotten to the place where I don't expect anything in particular, not in a bad way. I just don't expect anything, because I'm trying to manage my own expectations. This is my work. This isn't about you. And I was thinking, all I really want is a new phone. I just want to go switch my phone in and get a new phone. And then I was like, is that true, Robyn? Or are you going to be like, wait a minute, you didn't get me anything else? And you would say, you said not to. And I would say, yeah, okay, fine. So I guess at the end of the day, our producer and Gil are right. Buy me a nice gift.
And what are you looking at right now?
What does that mean?
What's in front of you right now?
Gil, this is why I've said that I don't need a gift. I get it. We buy gifts all the time.
I know.
And I know that you like to show that at the end of the year you can put out the
I need
list.
a book. That's what I need. I'm gonna propose a book where you write in all your gifts for the year and then you go back and review them.
It's different. It's Christmas.
I know.
So at the end of the day, it's about understanding your partnership and honoring whatever that is. It might be no gifts. It might be tons of gifts. It might be we're taking a vacation in the fall. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter how you do it. It's just important, of being aware of what really fills your soul and works for you and works for your partner and works for your loved ones.
And ultimately, it goes back to our relationship with the holidays ourselves, our relationship to what this stuff is. Like Robyn said, I tend to rebel a bit. And so that's my thing. I have to figure that out. Like, is that really true or important or right? Any of that stuff. Does it serve me?
Yeah. And what
does it serve my other relationships to think that way? The whole thing.
Yeah. So happy, hopeful, or horrific, whatever it is.
Have fun.
Yeah. have fun and just explore. And if it's been horrific, maybe you want to try doing it a different way this year. You can go back. There's plenty of time to go back. But you just might want to stick with that and explore. But whatever it is, we hope it's happy and fulfilling for you. And
we're grateful for you. We're grateful for all the opportunities to share and to dig a little deeper with our own selves, and to know that all of us are walking this path to a place of greater understanding and greater spiritual involvement.
And rocking more love.
And rocking a lot of,
So rock the love, everybody, and we will see you next week. Thanks for joining us.
all righty. Bye now.